Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's Tola from Tola Talks. In this video we're getting a bit personal. I'm going to be talking about what it's like living with lymphedema. So yeah, as I said, it's a bit of a personal video for me today. It wasn't my intention to make this video so soon. However, my lymphedema has been flaring up over the past week or so. I really need to talk to somebody about it. So, my YouTube family, hello. What is lymphedema? Lymphedema is swelling that happens generally in one arm or one leg. Is very rarely both. There are two types. There's primary and secondary. Primary is least common, secondary is most common. About 200,000 people in the UK are affected by lymphedema. Primary lymphedema usually happens either at birth or in your early adulthood. Secondary lymphedema is usually due to some kind of damage. It's basically problems within the lymphatic system, so that's your lymph nodes and all that kind of stuff. But isn't it interesting how I happen to have primary lymphedema? 1 in every 6,000 people in the UK have primary lymphedema. So why? Like, God, when I get to heaven, we gonna have a conversation. Like, God and I are gonna have a conversation, because 1 in every 6,000, like, really, I had to have. But you know what? All things I'm grateful, all things I'm thankful, because it could be worse for me. So let's get into my story. Once upon a time, not long ago, I was a Alright, sorry. So it was 2016. I was living in China at the time, living my best life. I was good. I was 24 because I actually turned 25 while in China. That birthday, my 25th birthday, it was lit, let me just say. Anyways, I digressed. I'm in China, it's 2016, and I'm just noticing like something's a bit different. And bear in mind, when I went to China, it was April, we're in spring at this time, and it's quite warm. In fact, it's very warm in China at this point. I was in Shenzhen, and that's a very, very hot city. All throughout that time, you know, I was very active. I was dancing, I was walking everywhere, I was climbing mountains in my free time, I was eating fresh food because there's no processed rubbish in China, all of that kind of stuff. So I was good. So I actually lost a lot of weight in China. But then I realized that I still feel quite like heavy, like there's some kind of heaviness that I'm feeling. I don't really recognize my body right now, like there's a change, like I couldn't really put my finger on it. Then eventually I noticed that my left ankle was like permanently swollen. You know, sometimes, you know, people are subject to swelling, especially in the heat. Like, that's a very normal thing. It's a very natural thing that happens to most people in summer. So that's what I kind of thought it was. And I was like, okay, well, it seems like it's summer all year round. But it just seemed a bit like there's something more to it. Time has gone by, months has gone by, and I'm just like, okay, this thing's not going away. I go to the hospital and they're all telling me like it's nothing, like, oh, nothing's wrong. The most annoying thing was that there was no pain. So it was very hard to like describe how I was feeling or what it was. So I used to feel very like just frustrated and everything, until I finally went to like another hospital. They did some like minor tests, and the guy told me this. When I tell you my life just flashed before my eyes. I felt like my life was over. He told me that, yeah, it's very likely that he has something called lymphedema. At the time, I had no idea what that was, but he was describing it, and what he was describing pretty much sounded like, okay, yeah, this is what I'm going through. I think you might have found it, like you solved the case, like this is it. Okay, so how do I treat it? Like, what do I do? And then he said, there's no cure, like you're just stuck with it. Oh my God, my chest. I was like, I literally cried. Like, I cried inside, not out, but inside I was crying. And then that wasn't it. This is where I actually cried. He told me there's no cure, but you can manage it effectively. Like, there's a good management system that you can do to just, you know, keep everything in control. Okay, what is that? Like, what do I have to do? Told me compression socks for life. Y'all, guys, girls, he told me I have to wear compression socks for life. Like, it's not even the compression socks, like it wasn't him saying, oh, wear compression socks. The fact that he added the for life. Like that is when I told you, like I felt like my life just ended. I was like, what is this? I did not sign up for this. Like this was not part of the deal. God, what's going on? That taxi ride back home, mate, I cried. Usually I'm more chatty with the taxi drivers, speaking a bit of Mandarin, all of that kind of stuff. That taxi ride, everybody knew not to even talk to me. Like I was distraught. Then fast forward a couple years later, so in 2018, I finally took like some proper tests. One of them, the name has just escaped my mind, but I'll just try and write it down somewhere. I'll write it over here so you guys can see. I took this test and lo and behold, there was confirmation that yes, the diagnosis is you have primary lymphedema, and that is where they explained to me what primary lymphedema is. Actually, it's caused by two types, so there could be a blockage of your lymph nodes or a delay. Mine is a delay. So what that means is, although you know the lymphatic system is working, my lymph nodes are working, it's not damaged or anything, I haven't had any cancer, thank God, or any kind of treatment like that, but it's just a case of it just takes a while. Like there's a delay, it's slow in circulating blood around my body, and that is what causes the buildup of fluid, hence the swelling in my left ankle. And it's only in my left ankle, not in my right, not in my arms or anything like that, just my left ankle. So I mean, as upsetting as that was for me to hear, I still felt a bit of peace of mind just having that closure and understanding of what exactly was wrong with me, because for the longest time I had no clue. Remember, at this time I'm 24, or maybe just turned 25, so like that's literally like a quarter of a century I've been alive and I've not had to deal with this. Oh, the frustrations. I remember telling my family about like my concerns before I knew exactly what was the problem. I'll be telling them that no, like something's wrong, like my ankle's legit swollen and stuff like that. And the worst thing that can ever happen is when you're telling people something and they either don't see it or they don't understand it, and it's that thing of like, girl, you crazy. And it's like, but I'm not, like I'm actually not crazy. Like I am seeing this, I am feeling this, something's wrong. And the thing is, right, I mean, naturally I'm a fairly slim person. I'm not skinny, I'm not overweight or anything like that, but I'm fairly slim. But growing up, everybody knew me to be like, you know, not even growing up, I would say maybe like 4, 5, 6 years old, I was like a what's the word, not chubby, but like I was a meaty child. Like I was full, like I don't really know how to explain it, but like let's just say I had meat on my bones. That was it. Like I was a strong child. Like everybody thought I'd grow up to be quite short and stocky and everything. I actually grew up to be quite tall and slim, but you know, whatever. Having that in mind, there would always, like family members would always say, no, like Tola, you know, you've always had like, you know, solid feet or chubby feet or like stuff like that, which okay, to an extent I understand, but I'm telling you that no, something is wrong, something is different. This left ankle, whether I've always had chubby feet or not, this left ankle is significantly bigger than my right. So something is wrong. Like, you know, we can see this together. It is what it is. So why am I even sharing this with you guys? Well, I want to tell you that like with lymphedema, there are mental and physical aspects to it, or effects of it as well. So it's all well and good knowing what it is and the causes and stuff like that. But it's also really important to understand the effects that it can have, whether you have lymphedema or you know somebody who does, because it's a lot, like it's a lot to deal with. All right, so the physical effects of lymphedema, these can include, you know, obviously your swelling, discomfort. Sometimes it can feel heavy, there's restricted movement, it can itch, it can feel warm. And lastly, there's sometimes, you know, thickening or hardening of your skin. As for the psychological effects, it's simple. It's distress which can occasionally or eventually lead to periods of depression. For me, being a primary lymphedema victim, I don't want to call it victim, I'm not a victim in Jesus' name. For me, having primary lymphedema and also it being mild, not as bad as how some other people have it, but my struggle is still my struggle, and it took me a while to even get to that place. All my childhood and, you know, my early adult life, I hadn't had to deal with this, and then all of a sudden at 25, bang, like it's compression socks for life. Like It's funny how I'm laughing now, but guys, let me tell you, this smile was not here like a couple years ago. Like, I was not happy. Anyways, yeah, so it took me a while to get to this place. However, you know, with time, it does get better. I didn't really know anybody else who had it, so it was hard to relate to anybody. It was really hard to kind of express how I felt to others as well. And there'll be times where, you know, I tried to. I remember reaching out one time saying that, you know, guys, please just pray for me because I feel depressed. I tell you, like, I got attacked. Don't hold anything against, you know, the people or anything like that. It's just a case of they didn't quite understand the gravity of lymphedema at that time. It was my responsibility to explain to them, like, look, this is actually a case, like, according to NHS, this is real, like, what I'm feeling is real. And it's very easy to, you know, compare my struggles with other people. You know, like, people have sicknesses all over the world, and yes, it's traumatizing and it's so upsetting, and that is like one of the reasons why I always used to kind of keep it to myself, because I know there are people suffering. I personally know people who are, you know, or who were suffering from illnesses, so I don't really want to now be like, oh well, you know, my leg is swollen, you know. But then at the same time, like, this is a big deal for me. So I think once you understand that, look, everybody has their struggles, everybody is going through something, that shouldn't take away what you're going through. If you need to talk to somebody, if you need to ask for help or ask for prayer or ask for, you know, comfort, by all means do so. I also remember feeling a bit conflicted, like, I don't want to seem shallow either, because I was thinking about, okay, my wedding day, like, what shoes am I gonna wear? Like, that sounds very, very shallow, but it's because it's so real to me. It's a real life situation. Like, by God's grace, I plan to get married one day, and I want to obviously feel beautiful, and most importantly, feel comfortable. That's the issue with lymphedema. There's so much discomfort that you feel, whether that's physically or emotionally. For me personally, there were times where I felt like amputating my foot, because it just doesn't feel like it's a part of your body. It feels foreign. It's a foreign body, and it's like, it's the worst feeling. I don't even know how to explain it. And like, as I'm talking, it's like I'm feeling it all over again, and it just feels foreign. It doesn't feel like it's yourself. So in that moment, I remember there being times where I just wanted to like cut my foot off. And imagine me like telling my family that, like, they'll just be like, what are you talking about? Like they would not understand. But in my mind, I felt like that's what I need to do, because I felt like I'm dragging something that isn't a part of me. Like, it just felt so uncomfortable, but that's what it is. So yeah, I'll be thinking about like my wedding, like, what am I gonna wear? Am I gonna have to wear a long dress to cover the swelling? All that kind of stuff. And then just, you know, everyday things. Like, for me now, some of my limitations are, okay, if I want to buy shoes, it's not just a simple, oh, okay, I'm a size 6, I'm a size 7, let me just buy shoes. No, it's I'm a size 6, I'm a size 7. What's the style of this shoe? Because it needs to accommodate the width of my foot, and it still needs to, you know, work for my right foot as well as my left foot. So it's those kind of things. And I'll be honest, I don't get lymphedema that bad, and it's not all the time, but sometimes that's even worse. Like, it's so inconsistent. Like, it could be amazing and it looks like there's nothing wrong one day, and then 2 days later it's like super swollen, or it's somewhere in between. So it's that inconsistency that also causes a lot of anxiety, because you just never know. Like, there's no triggering factor to make it happen or anything like that. It did take me a while to get to a place where I accepted what I had. It took a lot of prayer as well, and, you know, God's peace to just kind of be on top of me. Because I remember one time, like, this was maybe like 11 p.m. at night, I was so frustrated, I was so angry, I was so upset, I was so uncomfortable. I grabbed my keys, got into my car, drove to Tesco, got a bag of ice cubes. I bought a bag of ice cubes, like big bag of ice cubes. Drove back home, put my foot, not even my feet, did I put both of them? Either way, let's just say I put my feet. I put my feet in the bathtub, in a bucket, just poured all the ice cubes on my feet, and the pain, it was so painful. My feet were freezing, like, it was so painful, but I just felt like I need to feel something. Like what I'm feeling right now, I can't deal with it, and I can't really talk to anybody about it because nobody understands either. Like there's just so many frustrations that come with it that people don't really realize. This brings me on to the treatment. Okay, so treatment of lymphedema, number one, compression socks. So I actually have here with me 4 of my compression socks. So the first one is this one. It's like a sand colored one. Now the issue I have with this is the color. Like, guys, oh, it's all coming back. Like, it's just not easy. It's all well and good saying, okay, wear compression socks, but guys, we also wear clothes. Like, it's not comfortable wearing it under trousers sometimes, or you know, if you're wearing skinny jeans or something, or if you're wearing tights, you can see it under the tights. If you're trying to wear a cute dress, then you've got one compression sock on your left leg. Like, it's been hard times, man. But anyways, so this is the sand one. My issue with this is the color. It's not really, you know, blending in or camouflaging with my skin. But that's a no. I have this black one, which I absolutely like because it just feels like knee-high black socks, which I always used to wear anyway. The issue is the grade isn't that high, so it's not that effective. This one, as you can see, it's much shorter. This one is like specifically just for the ankle. I'll say the best one that I've had is this one. This is a more recent one that I got maybe last year or so. I like it because it's black, so again, it can pass for, you know, knee-high black socks, which is how I used to wear it. The grade is very strong, so it holds, trust me, but just a bit too much, and that is my issue with this. I had like black scars left on my leg because of how tight this was. And the thing is, you're supposed to wear compression socks like literally all day. They say to not wear it to bed or when you're sleeping, fair enough, but all day having this on my leg literally left like marks because it was so tight. So as much as they say compression socks are effective and you have to wear them every day, they can also add to your discomfort. So no to compression socks. Second thing is regular exercise. I dance a lot. I used to dance a lot more a couple years ago, and people used to be like, how are you still doing it, Tola? Like, how are you still dancing? How are you going for training? How are you rehearsing? All of this, all of that. Guys, I did not let lymphedema stop me. Like, I was not going to let it stop me. Even if people said you need to slow down, it was not going to happen. You're trying to tell me that I can't do that anymore? No. Not today. That is not going to happen. On top of that, I would say just generally have a healthy lifestyle and a healthy diet. Nobody's saying, you know, drink smoothies every day, only eat salad and vegetables, but just incorporate those things into your meals and don't, you know, have a fast food diet like 7 days a week. Lastly, there are specialized massage techniques, lymphatic drainage massage. Now guys, I tried this a couple of times. I'm not going to say it's the most effective way. It is quite effective, but I think it's only really effective if you're doing it regularly. These massages are expensive. They're not cheap. So unless you've got that budget to be doing it like weekly, I would say to not bother doing it. So the last thing I just want to say is, you know, treatment is very, very important. If left untreated, it could get worse and it could lead to, you know, scarring of tissue under the skin, and you just don't want that kind of stuff. So manage it as effectively as you can. And on top of that, please do talk to somebody so you don't feel so isolated and you don't feel anxious or depressed or anything like that. There are support networks out there. Thank you so much for listening to me. I think this was more therapeutic for myself, honestly, because I just wanted to have an outlet to talk about it and express. And I know that there are people who are also dealing with this as well. If you have any other ideas to help manage lymphedema effectively, please feel free to write it in the comment section down below. If you do have any other questions for me around lymphedema, I'll be so happy to answer. And if you just need somebody to talk to me. Guys, I hope that you liked this video, and if you did, you know what to do. Give it a thumbs up, comment, share, and if you haven't already, please do subscribe. Can't wait to see you in my next video. Love you. Bye.